Warning, you are about to watch Footy.Guy. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Seriously, run.
So, 15-year-old me, it's your 15th birthday and you're lying there on your bed when you should be out there in the sun, and this letter, what I just wrote in my best dead good English, pops out of a wormhole, and after a couple of minutes you realise you're not hallucinating it and you start reading it, and you find out it was written in the year 2012. Now, I know what you're thinking, how do I know that this letter was written in 2012? Well, it's not that easy to prove to you, but there's these 5 letters that you won't know what they mean until 2012, and they are TFIOS. Now, there's no point in trying to guess what these mean. They don't mean something like the flies in our soup or teachers fail in our schools. Well, that could actually be true, but in this case it's not. Now, I'm not going to tell you what they mean because it'd be pointless, but you'll find out in 2012. So then you can write this letter. Now, I remember getting this letter myself at your age and not believing anything I wrote in it and ignoring it, but I'm afraid everything I'm going to write in this letter is true, and I hope this time you change history. So, first thing I want to discuss with you. Now, that hell you've just been through, that operation. Oh, God, it was bad. Now, I'm pleased to let you know that up until this point, that's the only operation you're going to have again. Now, things are going to get slightly better. You're not going to be able to walk again properly for another year or two. Well, actually you'll be able to walk again by February, but it'll be pretty difficult, and it'll take you an hour on a walking frame to walk a distance that most people couldn't do in 5 minutes. And you're not going to be able to do that in 5 minutes until about 1984, but what the hell, you know, you got to go through these things. What else can I tell you? You're going to have to see a few more physio-terrorists. Oh, they are so much fun, aren't they? Treat you like dirt. But on the plus side, you're not going to get any footballers visiting you again in hospital. Now, I know normally footballers will be good visiting you in hospital. You'd enjoy it, but what happened to you? God. How could they visit you on the day that you were plastered? Oh, dear. Plastered in hospital, I don't know. Now, for any future historians watching this, I think I'd better explain what that means, because you never know. You might become famous if you take my advice this time and follow what I tell you. Basically, what happened was they lay you down on a metal bar, wrap some felt around you, and then put you in a plastic jacket from just below your shoulders to just above your knees. Well, you know this, but the future historians might not know this. And as you can remember, they forgot to put something underneath your head, like a pillow or whatever, and you got the worst headache ever. Well, the worst headache ever yet, but that's another story. And of course, you were really sick, you were vomiting, and just as your projectile vomiting came along, who should walk in but 2 Liverpool footballers. Now, nobody these days has a clue who Sammy Lee and David Fairclough were, but for future historians, these were pretty big footballers in the day, and oh, I remember your pain. They came in to try and talk to you, and all you could say was, oh. So, after a couple of minutes of trying to communicate with you, they went off and spoke to other patients, didn't they? Oh, that was so disappointing. But at least that's not going to happen to you ever again. Like I said, more physio-terrorists, but no more of that. So, but yeah, that's pretty bad. And it does get worse, not for long. But one good thing you're going to look forward to in a couple of months is you're going to have it off. Yeah, that's right. They're actually going to take the plaster jacket off. Now, I've got to give you a bit of warning here. Right, whatever you do, stay still. Right, they're going to have this circular saw thing, right? And it's going to come pretty close to your skin. And you might just wet yourself. But then again, all you have to do is to stop that and think of the nicest looking girl you know, and just imagine her being there with you, holding your hand, and it'll be a lot easier for you. But then again, you might just wet yourself in a different way. Just be careful. Now, one thing I can tell you is you're not going to have any more tubes in you. Okay, you're going to end up in hospital a few more times just for checkups and things like that, but you're not going to get any tubes up you again. Oh, do you remember that day when you had your operation? There was a tube going down in your mouth and it went past your eyes. And just as you woke up from the operation, you saw the tube, and then a couple of seconds later some green stuff came out. Oh God, no wonder you went back under. But then again, I suppose the tube in your nose wasn't too bad. At least it was delivering oxygen, that felt good. Do you remember that tube that went under the covers that you never found out where it went? Oh my God, that was terrible. There could have only been one hole where it could have gone, couldn't it? Oh God. Better not have gone up there, because that must have been a shitty job putting it up there. Oh God, I just had an even worse thought. Could you imagine the next poor patient who got that tube? They better cleaned it out properly. Can you imagine if they'd gone it down the nose delivering oxygen? Oh God. Anyway, enough of this frivolity. Now we're going to get down to the really important stuff. Listen to this. Right, in 1983 you still can't walk properly. So you need a year out of education to try and learn yourself how to walk proper like. And you do this thing called a YTS. And you do a pretty easy one, you're just programming computers, dead simple. And then in 1984 your walking's pretty good. But you go back to college, don't you? And stupid you wants to do it as quickly as possible. And you do 5 O levels and 1 A level in 3 years. Pretty good, as I hear you say. No, it's too much for you. You've got to try and do it in 4 years and do an extra A level. Basically, because this is when it all goes wrong. How can I say this? Well, you get in a lot of pain again. And I mean real pain. And the doctors say to you, oh, you're doing too much. You gotta rest, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Bollocks! The reason why you're getting in so much pain is you're not doing enough exercise. And believe me, if you do the exercise, the pain's gonna get worse in the beginning, but you do at least 100 metres a day walking, and in one go. You're going to be walking more than 100 metres anyway, but at a time. Keep that up and do some leg weights, say 2 kilograms, some hand weights, say 5 kilograms every day, a couple of times a day, and it's going to take some time, but that will get rid of your pain. So that's why I'm saying do your college in 4 years rather than 3. Basically because you take the wrong path after college. You decide to go to university in Gloucester. Oh, God, what a shitter. What a dump. Basically, you've got to do the extra year because you've got to help to sort out your pain, and you've got to do an extra A level so you can go to London. Now, if you go to London, the world's your oyster. No, I know you don't know this yet, but that's where your future lies. You know, you're getting all the stuff now about how terrible disabled people are and it's your own fault you're disabled and all this rubbish. Well, that is partly our, as in your generation, because of how horrible we all are. But in the future, the next generation, they don't care about that. They just treat you like a normal human being. And if you can move down to London, do your qualifications in London, get a good job. Well, you try to get a job up here, but how'd you like it if you'd been in a job interview and the first question they said to you was, why should we employ someone of your kind? Well, if you follow the path of going to college in Gloucester, on Monday, October the 1st, 1990, that is going to happen to you. And it destroys you. Other bad things happen to that. Basically, 2 days later, you meet a gorgeous woman, you get on, you go out for a bit, she dumps you for some other guy. Basically, he's two-timing her, and a couple of months later, she's in a bad accident, gets knocked down by a bus, survives for a month, but eventually she succumbs to her injuries, and you don't find out until after the funeral, and you just haven't been the same since. So follow my advice, move to London, don't stay in Liverpool because it's a dump, definitely don't go to Gloucester, and save me from the hell that I've been through. Basically, loads of pain from my back pain. Had to see another physiotherapist in the year 2000. That's when they told me about the exercise. It mainly worked. 2002, got jumped on by a kid with learning difficulties. He twisted my neck. He didn't know what he was doing, so don't blame him. And remember the scoliosis? Well, it exaggerated that, and you start getting migraines, and basically the doctors won't treat you properly. They give you this drug called Epilim, thinking you had epilepsy, and it makes things worse. Eventually you do get some drugs that do work, but because you had that one, you'll never be right. So I just hope you decide to actually take my advice this time. Well, if I really could give you my advice, I'd say get in the stasis chamber and wait until, let's say, 2006 to wake up. So that'll be what, 23 years? But sadly that sort of technology doesn't exist yet, does it? Unless of course I managed to invent it in a couple of years and managed to send that back through as well, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I definitely haven't got a TARDIS. But anyway, I know you're not going to take any of this advice because you're a teenager, and why should you take any advice from an old man like me? None of my friends do these days, so why should you? So anyway, it's all in this letter what you is reading now in my best dead good English like. So all that remains for me to do is to finish it off and stick it in the post. Well, it says on this letter it comes through a wormhole, so I'll just have to see and wait for one to come through and post it through. Anyway, I'll end this letter now because you never know when it's going to pop up. So I'll see you again soon. Ta-da!
You've been watching Footy Nut Guy, which makes you nuts.